Okay, are we live? Are we live? Live? Are we live? Live? Off. Hit this, and it looks like we are live. We are live recording from Arlington, Vermont. Or where is it? Nope. It decided pause. All right. As I was saying, live from Arlington, New York. This is Happy Valley Hobbies. I'm Mr. Katie, and these are hobbies that make me happy. And basically what we're doing today is finish, pretty much continuing where I stopped off last week and going from there. All right, so we go back to this. We need to change the pop out the chat so I can actually see it from correct position. And make sure I'm on that microphone. All right. Okay. Now let's switch over to the other camera. And one thing I found out with doing what I was trying to do, sort of kind of made the mistake of first putting everything down with white glue. So when I started to put the ground cover on it, it loosened it up, and now everything's sort of kind of way out of gauge and no longer straight. All right. Well, good luck with the train show. Hopefully you find what you're looking for, and if not, hopefully just enjoy the show itself. But thank you for at least popping in, Plumber. As you might be able to see, the track is no longer straight. So I might. It's one of those things I was tempted to straighten it out, but at the same time, since this is a diorama, and plus I don't have equipment to go on it, I might just leave it as a diorama for that direction. Just like that. Super gel is done. I like these small little, what they call one shots and all that. So you're not wandering, using up a whole tube. Because I usually have a tendency to not use the whole thing, and it has a tendency to dry out and just get destroyed before I actually use a whole bottle. So that's why I like using these sort of one shot deals. Trying to straighten out these back to being usable. One thing I have done recently, of course, I put it down. I literally just had it in my. Oh well. But I wound up making some gauge blocks that are 6-foot gauge. So I'm not constantly using this constantly all the time to ensure everything's in gauge. Make 3 of them. And I had them in my hand. But I do not anymore. Oh shoot, so I guess I gotta do this sort of this way. Trying to make sure it's realigned. Realigned straight, etc. Right now I don't have the equipment, so that's probably gonna future thought process. Super. And I would have to say one of the hard times at this point trying to do something is everything is correct. It's one of those things of it takes practice with a lot of things, and that's what I'm doing is practicing. So, getting slicker. Super glue does. I mean, it dries a lot quicker than a lot of other glues, but without activator, it does take a slip. It's like this is finally pinned down. All right, I'm gonna add more stuff. Mostly out of the way. Let's go. Slight. There we go. That'd be the relative. The idea is that the water sort of seeping down in slightly, a little bit of soap in it. Commonly known as water. You like glue and sort of slowly seep in. Side. So sort of lift the glue, let it get soak in. With that down. Switch over to this side. And add lots and lots of first. There's the bar. Series. So start with two. It's quick as a such a stratus. There is just pouring. This is a portion of this is sort of kind of buried. This is seen. This. Oh, there, Anthony. Thank you for coming. need to find a way to move one of my monitors. So right now, monitors are off to my right side. So when I'm concentrating on this, I can't really keep track of that. But I think I've been saying that since I've started the or close to starting the live stream. Just when I started using the bench, but I haven't actually went and fixed it. So, yeah. So let's wet this again. And one of the things that I've been doing, trying to do my best to sort of stay on top of, is doing everything in layers. Starting with a very ugly first layer and slowly making better and better layers. And figuring out what works, what doesn't. Seems that the more I'm doing now, seems every time I do it, it looks nicer. So maybe I can refix some of the first sections that I did that don't look as nice. But if I can't, yeah. So these are dioramas. I'm going to be winning any, or I'm not planning on winning any convention stuff or anything. Do it, from what I understand, what the conventions contests are actually for is to help people do better, not the win stuff. That dry. So, and it for this module right now. For this diagram, I should say. And then start working other diorama. Yeah, pretty much. Keeping uh, the first layer is the basic contour that you're looking for. You are right, it doesn't have to be perfect, Anthony, but let's get it to the basic basic thoughts. Straight, super. super search before going any further. Complete. Clear one thing. Water is served solar pursuit. Let's make sure this isn't protected. Some wiggle. Track agent. My phone to the other room, and I'm sort of kind of kind of glad I did. It's been every 5 minutes going beep, beep. So let's do this. Switch that down. So that is successfully bonded. And we'll go back to white. White glue that has glue in it. An empty bottle. Eligible. Into the trash can. Just out of camera sight. That's interesting. See the glue is just rolling down the stream, not soaking. So it soaks in. Or so that was everybody's, well, at least in America, their Labor Day weekend. Mine was, sort of kind of uneventful. I did wind up doing a couple of things that I haven't done in a while. Sunday was my birthday, so I decided to go to an all-you-can-eat buffet place, which I haven't been to in a while. And it's been a while since I've eaten that much food. It's old Chinese restaurants that I used to go to when I was working in Bennington. but I was still living on the New York side. It's, and everything keeps on. But Matt and a friend of mine moved into a new house earlier this year. They had their first backyard party for it. It's much smaller than she used to have. Uh, still, still okay. Haven't seen that, or people I haven't seen in years. But they didn't. Probably didn't last into the wee hours as it used to do. And the funny thing is, the one that wound up breaking up sort of starting the mass exodus of the festivities was the teenager. Which I thought was sort of ironic. But this weekend is going to be interesting because the Hudson Berkshire Division is having their first seasonal meeting. It's going to be up in Lake Luzerne on a small little 12-inch gauge railroad, or one, or that's 1/12 scale. So I'm assuming the track would be 4 foot 5 inches. I'm assuming, or something along those lines. That I believe is going to be, I want to say, an hour and 45-minute drive for me. Which the interesting thing is, after that, I can go to the Android Live Steamers, which is having their fall meet afterwards, which will be on the way back. So, looks like tomorrow's going to be a long day. Well, thank you, Anthony. I looked over chat. Yeah, it's one of those things of sort of like, it's another day or another birthday. It's not really too nuts on it. Although my alarm that woke me up in the morning, saying me happy birthday, which I thought was hilarious. I mean, machines don't have any feelings whatsoever and all that. Having it sing to me happy birthday was just sort of like, really? Somebody had fun, I guess, programming it in. But using the Google, the female, say Alexa, whatever the voice, whatever Android phone Android phone uses, which is usually very monotone. So having it actually sing a song was sort of unusual, silly, and I gotta laugh at it. But I haven't really said to anyone really that it was my birthday, but Facebook being what it is, notified everybody. So I wound up people putting happy birthday on my on my uh, on my feed that I haven't like seen in years. One I actually was one person I actually made friends with, using the model train industry, but he does ON30. Pretty much only met him about 2 or 3 times before the pandemic, and I would have to say it's nice to know that he's still around. Wasn't in he didn't seem to be in the best of health. So this age. It's nice to know that he's still around. That's It was one of those things of birthdays are probably a lot more fun to people celebrate it. Signs of it seems that the signs of the pandemic are slowly dying off. There are still there, and there's still concerns on stuff. And I hear the Vermont Railway in the back. Now, the thing is that it's a good chance that it's not showing up on the microphone because it is pretty far away. Plus, there's a couple of buildings in the way. Aha! That's where they are. These I have set up as 6-foot gauge blocks. Not as comprehensive as the NMRA gauge. Still super sure. Might have been solid, so a little sticky. Some spots are still wet. So it's eventually you're gonna see about. Still haven't found my microengineering track names. They might don't really see a immediate need for them right this second. So, Soon the finished balancing mix. That's right, and I'll see about putting track on the non-covered version of Queen Coast Bridge. Not sure how to put that on, but and one of the interesting things is that Hunter Line, which this is where I got the bridge from, they do have a King Coast Bridge. However, interestingly, that the King Coast Bridge is actually smaller. The Queen Coast Bridge, the way that is distinct is by having two of these sections. Basically, what the King Coast Bridge is just take out this section, and it's only from here to here. But these styles of bridges were like used for the longest time. But as bridges had to get longer and trains got heavier, got more, they had to abandon this style. This is, excuse me, the post bridge could only just go so far before they failed under large pieces of weight. The things that I plan on doing is, after all the ballast is dried, is to add more scenic stuff on it. Sure why. I didn't realize, why am I worried about getting through on my rails? It's not going to be powered. Dioramas and yeah, traditionally my birthday is celebrated on Labor Day, because I was born on that holiday. By a cesarean, which is sort of kind of the joke, the ironic joke about it. This is all dry. I'm going to be adding more of these rocks up towards here, and then not necessarily a straight line of stuff. That's the way. That's what the current plan is for that. All right, now off the cover bridge to uncover. One thing I want to see about doing eventually is what I call covered truss bridge. There is a version of a Queen Coast Bridge. Actually, it's not necessarily a Queen Bridge, it's a bridge in general. because you got the uncovered bridge, which is considered the normal bridge, covered bridge, which is the most well known, and then there's a bridge that is not as well called. Water. Covered truss bridge. What a covered truss bridge. I'm not quite sure if it was the forerunner of the covered bridge or sort of a cheaper version of covered bridge. Because a covered truss only covers the truss itself. It doesn't cover the whole entire bridge like a bridge does. It just covers the support members on the side. Currently, there are 11 left in the United States. So that's an interesting fun fact. One being a narrow gauge railroad bridge, which was just refurbished. I forgot the name of the railway or something like that, but I guess there was a 2-foot narrow gauge railroad that for the longest time just, wasn't using this branch, and then they really opened up the branch, and then there we are. Now the thing is that with Code 100 track and HO scale is even large for normal size railroads, so that's why 83 became a track code to go with, because it was more accurate to mainline track. And then you got code 70, which was more for branch lines and stuff like that. And they got code 55. I'm using code 55, which is standard, sort of like the standard thickness for N gauge. Because, in the 1850s, this would be closer to, even I think code 40 might be a more accurate, size rail. That was the easy one. This side is not. All right. Just just literally just using those pliers. There. Probably should grab super glue also. So, with that, slowly peel it in scale ties. That's one thing I've sort of recently found out, really come to realize that just because something is in a particular gauge, it's not necessarily gauge that or scale that you could use. Hello there, Sidetrack 77. That is correct. I'm assuming a lot of these terms like king and queen were not originally American. Or if it was American, it was in honor of the king and queen before the rebels got rambunctious and decided not to be part of it. kingdom anymore. And from what I understand, the Queen Post and the King Post were, I want to say they predate the United States, probably possibly even predates the colonies. Almost want to lean towards it, or Roman side. I might be wrong. I'm not no way, shape, or form expert, but I apparently do enough to make nice movies. This bridge actually has a couple of defects that the camera angle probably won't be able to see. And I did get the truss parts that I had to cut out. Not not as nice as they should. Let's see here. Got track, just like with it's like what I did with the covered bridge. Not kind of permanently mount, not permanently mount this bridge. So basically going here, here, super glue, and then eventually here, then eventually. So things first. One. So that, so, so, uh, see if that works like that. My tanky train freak, and also thank you, Anthony. I would have to say, hopefully, I'm a little bit more entertaining than on hold music. At least that's what I'm hoping I am. I might have to say this time slot is a little tricky to get people to watch because, well, it's a lot of people are still working at this point. You know, especially if they have like a normal 9 to 5 job. That's supposed to be. So, just out of camera rejection. Yeah, I'm way up. There. Still soft adjustments. Start here. All nice and solid. Grab all the other pieces in between. Everything. One of the disadvantages of using lighter code, this is code 5, is that, well, it bends easy. Does not like straight. So that is one of the challenges doing this. Yeah, actually, Anthony, that makes perfect sense. You know, with your time slot. Also having a German themed layout would probably be more interested in a European or old country audience than a new country audience. But it's one of those things of we theoretically all find what's best for us to do and all that, and go from there. That's why a lot of times I'm actually, sort of kind of concentrating more on the rewatch value, not necessarily the live stream value. Well, thank you, Anthony. Yeah, hand laying track is, well, it's the interesting thing is it's not as hard as people make it out to be. If you got the right jigs and stuff like that, it goes together real quickly. Um, my first outing of doing a hand laid track was actually the Anorak Live Steamers, which is a 7.25 inch gauge live steam layout, where the track is about an inch tall, and something, basically something like this would fit the bridge would fit inside of back end of a pickup truck. It's it was a lot larger, so the tolerances was. Now that I think about it, the tolerances were a lot quicker or a lot easier because you're dealing. When you scale up, the larger scales, the tolerances should theoretically go up also. But it was also the track panels also require at least two people to pick them up because they were not necessarily heavy, but they were definitely awkward. This is also not. This is definitely not a standard that they that's available at this point. This is I'm doing 6-foot gauge, which I mean you can get track gauges for HON3, HON30, HON2, but right now these pieces of tongue depressors are the only 6-foot gauge HO scale 6-foot gauge gauges that I know of. As far as I know, I'm the only one that's playing with 6-foot gauge. There is a broad gauge society in Britain that does. All right. Well, thank you for coming, Anthony, and thank you for your support. It's very very welcome. But there is a broad gauge society in Britain that does the Burnell gauge, which is 7'1". And I think they do it in O and OO. They're not doing it actually in HO scale. They're doing it, I believe, OO. Double aughts. So I've heard it called. Which, aught is more of a sort of more of a wire gauge terminology, but that's the way it is. All right. Oh, there's but yeah, in doing a 6-foot gauge, there is no commercially made track for 6-foot gauge. So that's why it has to be hand laid. It's also I have bought a track gauge from Fast Tracks so I can learn how to do turnouts. We're just not set down right now, so it is more. Right now, there is no standards for 6-foot gauge track. Interestingly, or actually any broad gauge. Well, I was going to say there is no standards for any broad gauge, but that would be a slight lie, because O gauge is actually 5-foot gauge. That's why there's the whole 5-foot. Oh, hello, Randall. How you going? I'm not going to be on here for much longer and all that because Anthony is doing his thing right now. Because I'd like. That's one of the reasons why I sort of moved my stream and all that because I like watching Anthony. not quite my style and all that, but I don't know. There's something there's something about him I like. Not really that much into the sparkling 3-rail stuff, AC control, etc., etc. Something about Anthony, which so sometimes it's not necessarily what the person is doing. Sometimes it's just their personality. Solidify. Knowing it's not straight, so like it. And as soon as I'm done with this track, wander over to Anthony's. So that. All right, let's switch cameras. Watch out for the bouncing camera that's on a very zip tied to a very long piece of wire. And let's go to here. All right. Well, I would have to say thanks for everyone who has shown up. Hopefully the plumber has hopefully he gets what he wants at the train show that he wants. And Anthony is probably live at this point. Well, the thing is, with Sidetrack 77 mentioned that there's king and queen truss and roof design, and I'm assuming that they are sort of kind of related to the railroad bridges. That's just my assumption. And hopefully I'm assuming the train freak is finally off of hold on his hold music. And last but not least, Randall Ellison is sort of snuck in on the end. And I thank everyone for actually showing up. I'm doing this more as I'm starting to do this channel more as a reason to actually get stuff done instead of if I was not doing this for live streamers, I would not be nowhere near where I am in the process of building these dioramas. So that is that. And I guess everyone is wandering to Anthony's channel. So for those who are watching, thank you for watching. If you like this content, add the thumbs up, subscribe, and I'm still at 67. But as I said, I'm not here for the subscribers. I'm here to, just motivate me for actually getting stuff done. And thanks for everyone who's along with me on this journey. And I believe that the world needs more love. So find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around.